Speaking of Cleveland-Detroit, let's pivot from a Cleveland-Detroit game in one sport to a Cleveland-Detroit game in another. Our next topic is brought to us by Mazda, moving the game forward for those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it, because these moments do more than win. They push what's possible, keeping us to go that extra yard, shift into that extra gear, and move the game forward. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning, and just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to every Mazda. Mazda, move and be moved. All right, guys, the Browns' defense has been awesome through the first 3 games of the season. They rank number 1 in the NFL in a number of different categories, but this got me thinking about 2023 again. And you go back to that 2023 Browns defense, G. They were incredible at home, not as nearly as good on the road. I'll pull back the splits in case you forgot. We could show you the difference between the home and road splits from that 2023 defense. The record, obviously, is not all defensive, but it was 8-1 on home, 3-5 on the road. They held opponents at home to under 14 points per game. On the road, it was 29.6%. Their third down stop rate was, you want lower for this stat, by the way, lower is better. They held opponents to converting just 29.9% of their third downs, 33.6 on the road. Look at the quarterback rating, a 22-point differential and 15 more sacks at home than on the road. Small sample size in 2025, G, but at home they held the Bengals and the Packers to a combined 26 points. They allowed Baltimore to score 41 on the road.
Yeah, but that's not fair, Mike, because those points were mostly scored by the defense.
That's why I said it was tiny sample size. I'm just asking, with the Browns going back on the road to Detroit this week, a team that just scored 38 on Baltimore, scored 50 in week 2. G, what do you have to see from this Browns defense to feel confident this isn't a trend that will repeat from 2023 and this defense can hold its own on the road?
Well, they need to get some. They need to get some help from their compadres, their brothers. I know it's. We say it all the time. What exactly is complementary football? Well, complementary football is continuing to go do what you guys need to do, but also getting a little help from your offense, and that means not going 3 and out. That means not having turnovers or turnovers that lead to touchdowns. That means punting the football and pinning guys deep and making them take the long, the long field. So all these different things is things that you can use to help your defense out. And sometimes when you are a head coach or a play caller, you have to understand that, I'm calling the plays, but my defense is the team that's leading what we need to do. So what we need to do is basically play to their strengths, play to put them in the best position to play. So if I'm the Cleveland Browns, there's certain play calls and there's certain things that I need to do that I need to accentuate my defense. If I got an opportunity to take a long approach where now it's 12, 15, 16 plays, I'm going to do that. If it's an opportunity for me to be aggressive and put points on the board, not be conservative, because what it helps you is if the Cleveland Browns, the longer that they stay in a lead or close to the game, it makes them a little nervous because the Browns defense can really put some things together that can hinder you from scoring. Not just that, but specifically about the defense, continue to have this mentality. This year is a little bit different for me. I go back and look at that 2023 roster, and they still had Myles Garrett, they still had Denzel Ward, they still had JOK and some of those other things. I think Jim Schwartz is a little more confident in the pieces and parts he has. If you go back and look, Shelby Harris and some of those guys and Dalvin Tomlinson were your nose tackles and defensive tackle that were getting a lot of minutes for you. Now, look at the change and evolution of the body types. You got Mason Graham. You got, Isaiah McGuire. You got Alex Wright. You got Malik Collins. And, Mike Hall Jr. is coming around. Now you got guys that are running what he wants to run. They got guys at linebacker that can run. Devin Bush was always a guy that could run from coming out of Michigan. So I think actually, to be truthful, they got better pieces and parts. Even though they're young pieces and parts, it's better suited to what they want to do. And when you have Myles Garrett, as we talked about yesterday in the show, I think Myles Garrett is playing the best football of his career right now, especially the way he's getting after the run, especially his motor. 3 guys is getting taken up by him. Myles Garrett is the best defensive player, and he probably is the best non-quarterback. And through 3 weeks, he's playing the best football out of anybody in the entire league. So when you got that dude as a queen piece on the board and moving him around, you got a chance against anybody, even with the Lions.
I see what you're saying about, you need the complementary. You got to have the offense do their part. I went back and looked at a couple of results from the 23 season. It was really strange. They had allowed 28 points, I think, to the Ravens in their home game that year. And when they went to Baltimore, they allowed 31 points. But the results were wildly different. They got boat raced here at home because the offense scored 3.
That was the
DTR game.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Then when they go to Baltimore, they get that almost perfect second half from Deshaun Watson, and they win the game, a game that the defense allowed 31 points. So the complementary piece is worth pointing out. Like, the offense has to do their part. The defense, so many times you lose a game 20-17, and okay, if you give up 20 points, that's not a bad effort. It really isn't, especially if you can hold a quality team like they have this year to 20 points. When you've got all that offense, I know Baltimore scored 41, but 21 of those they were gifted to them. So I look at it that they scored 20 against the Browns defense. Hold Detroit to 20 points, which I know is a lot easier said than done. And I think they have a chance to win because I do think their offense, if they step in it for a game, can get to 21. But if you give up upwards of 24 points, it's an L, no matter what. And I cannot explain the difference between the offense and or the defense on the road and home in 23. It's one of the most astounding stats you'll look at for a whole year.
I think a lot of it had to do
Quarterbacks they were playing.
That's exactly it. And again, once you remove the emotion, once you get away from the season, you can look back. I mean, they played Clayton Tune at home. They played Trevor Siemian at home.
Trevor was hurt.
When they beat San Francisco at home that year?
Purdy played.
Oh, Purdy did play.
But they had other injuries. Niners had somebody else.
Trent Williams and Debo got hurt during the game.
Yeah. And Trevor Lawrence was here on a high ankle sprain. Burrow in the rain coming off injury, right?
Yep.
So it always felt like there was just something going on with that. For whatever reason, when they had him at home, they play. And I mean, listen, they still got Lamar at home that year. You know, they did play good quarterbacks.
Right, but they gave him 28.
Yeah, but they got gashed.
Yeah, and it just felt like they had a lot of things go their way with opposing quarterbacks that year. It was just one of those strange, fluky things.
Obviously, we got to see the rest of the year, but I never felt as good about that defense as I did for the first 3 weeks of the season, because I don't think they played 3 offenses as good as they played this year that whole season.
Yeah.
Certainly, they didn't they started off against either bad teams or teams dealing with injury.
San Francisco came in on a heater, though.
Yeah, they was
outside of that game.
I think we gave them their first loss.
Outside of that game, yes, that game was really good by the defense. But like the defense is the biggest difference in this defense is the back 7. I don't think there's much of a difference, but the front 4 is a huge difference.
Yeah.
That defensive line had one player. This defensive line has way more than one player, and I agree with G that one player, hard to believe, is even better now than he was then. But the talent around Myles Garrett on the defensive line is a million times better than the talent there. I don't think there's much to the home road. I think it was more a coincidence in quarterbacks. And the Ravens, obviously, that's misleading this year. I think they will give up the most points they've given this year in this game, in my opinion. But I don't think
more
it's
than
good.
41.
More. If you
legitimately,
20 points.
Legitimately, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
I think the defense will look its worst in this game, is my opinion. Not that they're going to look bad. I'm just saying that's what I think. I think they'll just be fine.
They're on the road, tough plays against a juggernaut offense.
And generally speaking, from my experience, offensive teams tend to play better at home. You get there's a substantial boost of the way average players play.
And you don't have to fight the noise.
Right.
You're operating in quiet.
It just feels like it's a different, like guys will make catches, at home that you necessarily can't count on the road. Especially on the road, it's an uphill battle. Like you ain't nothing in your favor. So you're gonna face people's best punches. So even if you got some JV quarterbacks, they'll play a little better. Bo Nix played his mind out again that year in 23 against the Browns, and I'm like, man, this is a rookie. He throwing like that, like. C.J. Stroud in the playoff game played out of his mind that game. Like, so at home they get a little bit of bump. It's a little more difficult on the road, but
23 wasn't Nix. Nix was rookie last year, right?
Oh, that was last year.
Yeah,
same thing. I mean, but I guess the point is people still tend to play a little bit better.
No doubt, 100% agree. Yeah. By the way, Jay said that he thinks the Browns can win if they hold the Lions to 20 points.
Yeah.
I don't think they can win if they hold the Lions to 20 points. Do you guys?
I do.
They
I think their chance of winning goes up substantially.
So
You're not gonna.
But the Browns haven't scored 20 points in a while.
I don't look. I didn't say they would win.
No, I know.
I said that, if it's a pinball game, you're losing.
Yes, sir.
Period. Your only hope is to possess the ball and hold the Lions to under 3 scores.
So
around 20 points.
They would need a turnover. They would have to get a turnover that would be in their own territory, and they need one explosive play. Like if you get a Jerry Jeudy 70. See, that's the thing about the offense. The offense, I don't think, and people say sustain the ball a long period of time. Well, that's what the league wants you to do. They want you to continue to move the ball because in 12 plays, how many times are you going to have clean play in 12 plays?
Right.
It's holdings, pass interferences, legal motions. Something's going to stop your drive, right? So if you get Jerry Jeudy or Quinshon Judkins to break a 60-yard touchdown, now I don't got to move the ball all that much. If I only get 40, 50 more yards of offense, as long as I got that 7 on the board and I got a turnover, I can work with that. But if it's methodical and it's ball control and they don't have no explosive plays, it's going to be an uphill battle because the other team can do that.
I picked them to score 20 this week.
Did.
Yeah, on Fence Riders yesterday. I think I picked them.
You did, yes.
Yeah,
I did too.
I think they get to 20.
Yep.
So
What was the one that we were shocked that Jason picked in Fence Riders?
That Myles wouldn't get a sack.
Nah, that was the one?
He was the lone no.
I
in that
don't think
question.
I was
It was
shocked by
another
that.
one.
There was another one I was shocked that Jason had picked. I don't
Probably
know
20
what it was.
points, no?
No,
I'm
maybe.
surprised you guys, anyone else went with it. Oh, and the only reason I said no to Myles is just because Detroit's got a good line. I think you're going to get the ball out fast. It's nothing against Myles. I think they're quick game.
They're also very well balanced.
Yeah, so they're going to run it well, and I just think head on a swivel, and the ball's going to be out like that.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting because obviously the Browns have done a great job against the run so far. Now, this is the first team you're facing that has, I was going to say that has a dual threat in the backfield, but that's not true.
Baltimore did.
Because Baltimore does. But
they the weird thing is they contained it.
right, they didn't do anything, Baltimore. on the
No,
ground.
their run game was almost non-existent
Yeah.
against the Browns.
This may sound crazy. If the highest version of Kevin Stefanski's offense that I would love is the Detroit Lions. Like if you say, "Oh, what's the highest version of that?" That's what I envision.
Honestly, I think the highest version of Stefanski's offense is prime 49ers, peak 49ers. That's what they're trying to get to. That's what they've been trying to get to.
I think that would
Sometimes
be
more
enough.
successful than others.
That would be enough for me.
But that's what they're trying to. That's
I
what
mean,
they're
the
trying to
Lions
go
do a
with
ton
this.
of pre-snap motion, which the Browns
I
don't
love the fact they got pre-snap motion. They're creative getting the tight end of football. They got 2 receivers one can spread the field, one can work underneath. Thunder and lightning, great offensive line. Play action. I love it. There it goes. That's my football.
Kevin doesn't quite have the go for it rate that I don't know that anybody does. Dan Campbell. Dan's just like,
Dan
we're
Quinn
going.
in Washington.
the Browns
is the only
go-
quarterback.
Is he
Last year they were second. They were the only 2 teams above 20 and 4th down.
Yes, Stefanski goes for it all the time.
he does. I said
It's one of my favorite things about him.
He's got some go for it to him.
I would never punt
But-
if I were a head coach.
Yeah, I would very rarely.
almost
4th and 18 from
No,
your own 12.
not never, but almost never.
There was we had them on Cold Pizza many years ago. There was a high school team that
Never punted.
onside. They never punted, and they
Right.
onside kicked every time, and they were like
Yeah.
9-0.
Yeah.
But by the time we
That's
caught on to
corny.
the story and had the coach on, and he was hilarious. He's like, nope. I would give him
Yeah.
situations. Nope, go for it.
I see
Go,
teams-
it's high school football.
I
Go
see
for
teams punting from the other side of the field, and I'm like, what is happening here? This is crazy.
That used to happen all the time 20 years ago.
It's
it. Oh,
ridiculous.
5 years ago.
Yeah, well,
Nah,
Like,
about
more than
5.
that.
It was shocking to me when a team would bring out their punter and they've got the ball in plus territory.
I mean, how many
It
times
just
have we
doesn't
seen
happen.
it? You're at the 47 or the 48, the plus 47 or 48, and the team takes a 5-yard penalty intentionally
Yeah.
to back up to try and give the punter more room.
give him more room
Like
for the
that's how
corner.
that's how they
It's nuts. A lot of it